Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 38 of the Glimmer Gang podcast. As you guys can see, you can see our faces now. We've transitioned to video podcasts. I'm here with Blake, another member of the Glimmer Gang. How are you doing today, sir?
I am doing very well.
Awesome. Well, we have a lot to talk about since the last time we talked. I thought it was episode 38. It was actually episode 37. So this is the real episode 38 right here. And in that 2-3 week span, we got a lot more news. The first thing I want to talk about today is the Glimmer Gauntlet, our charity tournament that we just held. It ended a week ago tomorrow, and our winner was Liam from the Illumineers running Amethyst Steel. He had an amazing deck, Blake. I know you got to play against him. How did it like that deck was? There was no way. It didn't feel like anyone could beat it.
Uh, yeah. Liam and I were talking as we were playing, and that was our first match where either of us had to go to 3 games. We have
Okay.
both gone 2-0 before, so it was our first real match, and it felt as tense as it looked.
Yeah, I know. If you guys did miss it, the live stream from the semifinals and finals is up on our YouTube, maybe somewhere up here or in the description, or it's just on our YouTube under live events. But Blake played Liam, Eric from The Gamer played Jacob from Ready Set Draw, and then Jacob and Liam moved on to the finals, where Liam did win. His list was comprised of a lot of Floodborns, using Blue Fairy, and then the Captain Hook thinking a happy thought, and Jafar Dreadnought to just draw. And we saw that half his deck, in some way or another, drew cards, which was
Yeah.
for obviously it's an Amethyst, but it's still crazy to think about.
Yeah. And yeah, for me, I was running the Emerald Amethyst, very tempo-y package, just
Yeah.
missing those legendary Ursulas because of our
Yeah,
restrictions.
yeah. The restrictions for these decks were rares and lower, so obviously, with Emerald Amethyst, you don't have Deceiver of All and all that stuff.
Yeah. But and I didn't really run a lot of discard, but I did run some, but it was not enough to keep up with the Liam's draw.
Yeah, that.
And my removal was just bouncing things, so he
Mhm.
would just get it and play it back again, and
And draw more
I
cards.
couldn't keep things away. Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably one of the more impressive things I've seen in a long time in the Lorcana space. Just obviously these rares and lower, but everyone was given their ink combinations at random, so they didn't really know what they were going into. Obviously, Amethyst Steel lent itself to probably be a better deck just because of the removal and the draw that it has. So yeah, Gauntlet. We raised $700, which was amazing. It went to the Casa Foundation of Travis County, down in Texas. That was the charity Liam picked, and Casa is an organization that helps foster kids. Erin, his wife, works for them, which is awesome. So great causes, all the causes that the Glimmer Gauntlet had. Every gladiator, all 15, pick their own charity, and if they won, the money went to them. And Liam took the win, so the money went to his charity of choice. Uh, yeah, I'm super happy with how the Glimmergaunt turned out, Blake. Obviously, you got to play, but you also got to edit. Thoughts on it? Overall, did you enjoy it?
Yes, overall, it was very enjoyable. Getting to watch the matches unfold uh, and editing them and listening to all of the fun that the commentators have. All of them did pretty amazing, um, and just had a great time of it. All of the commentators were awesome. But yeah, it was still a lot of work lining up the
Yeah.
video, the audio, making sure they were saying things when things were happening,
Yeah.
and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
But it was good, and I'm glad we have a year before we're going to attempt this again.
Yeah,
A
and
nice
attempt
little
it on a
break.
bigger scale next year too.
uh,
If you want to be on the Glimmer Gang editing team, you know where to go. But no,
Please help me with this workload.
no, but
No, we all did took our part and
Mm-hmm.
came out pretty good, I'd
Yeah,
say. I know there were a few hiccups here and there, but
that's
overall, on a whole,
that's
it
to
came out pretty
expect.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's to expect
Yeah.
on a project like this. Like I said, it's coming back in 2025. It's going to be great. It's going to be even better. We're going to hopefully add more content creators into the mix. Uh, yeah, I'm excited. That was a great event. We are so thankful to everyone who supported and just was with us along the way. We announced this, I think, New Year's Day, or yeah, I think we announced it New Year's Day of this year. So nearly 3.5 months, a little over 3 months that this was going on. So I know Blake and I are super thankful, and Sean, who is not with us today, is also super thankful for how this went. So yeah, we have a lot more to talk about though,
Oh yeah, lots
and
coming up.
yeah,
Lot
lots
that went
coming
on
up.
while we were busy with this.
Yeah. So the first thing that we want to touch on, now that we kind of know like what is happening for set champs, and I think we did a little bit last time when we recorded. DLCs, you know, a lot more information on that. So let's start with set champs. They're just a week away at this point. They're going to start a week
Yep.
away from the time of recording. So, Blake, going into set champs, what are you doing to prepare for all of this? And even DLCs in that matter, because those are a little farther out, but still around the corner. How are you going about preparing for these higher level competitive events?
I've been playing a lot more um, practice games.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much once the gauntlet ended, I was like, okay, time to focus and put together these decks that I want to try bringing. Basically, I I've been working around three decks, which is upgrading my amethyst emerald,
Mm-hmm.
getting that upgraded, and it feels right because it's one of the decks I'm most comfortable with at this point. Thank you, Gauntlet.
That's true. That's very true.
um, but I do also have a Sapphire Steel list
Yeah.
with the dime that's been doing well. And I'm also putting together a Ruby Amethyst list. And the reason why I'm putting all these together is to kind of practice with all of them and also practice against.
That's fair.
So
Yeah.
my uh, if none of my friends are available, my wife and I have also been practicing.
Mm-hmm.
She's actually going to be taking part in a couple of events with me, but I'm attending four, and then she's going to attend two of those with me.
Gotcha. That's fun.
So practicing those decks together, seeing what we're most comfortable with, and between those are the decks we're going to try to bring.
Hmm. Yeah, I know. Obviously, this is kind of like obviously we've seen a lot of big tournaments happen. We've seen 10Ks. I think it's probably the highest we've seen. We've seen 8Ks all over the country. A lot of Ks, a lot of $1,000 tournaments that we've
Yep.
seen, but we haven't really had anything like set champs yet. We haven't. We haven't
Yeah,
had
no.
something where it is officially Lorcana and Ravensburger's prizing is those stitches and the playmats and all that. And obviously, like I know a few of the stores that I'm going to are like adding in booster boxes and all that as well.
Yeah.
But this is the first time we're actually having these real set champs and real tournaments like this. And I think the biggest thing when, like you said, testing multiple decks is one, even if you don't play it, you know how the deck works. And I
Right.
think that's for whether you're listening and you're an experienced pro or you're newer to the TCG space, even if you know exactly how your own deck works, if you don't know how the other deck works, it's still going to be hard because this game is really going to have to predict what's going on and kind of like
Yep.
think about 5 turns in advance.
Exactly. And if you've been playing from the beginning, you at this point, most people know, especially for Ruby Amethyst,
Mm-hmm.
since it's been around since then. It's like watching out for turn 7. That's when Be Prepared is probably
Mm-hmm.
going to be played, and turn 5 is when Maui's coming down. Uh, so No, getting to know those plays and playing around that in anticipation for those moves, and yeah, uh,
Yeah.
just knowing the decks, especially um,
Hmm.
get someone that can work with you and play those decks against you, so you know how your deck works against those, especially in those tougher matchups. Like,
Yeah.
they aren't always unwinnable; that they're very hard. But the more you practice with that, the more you can likely navigate your way around that deck and maybe
Yeah.
pull out a win.
Yeah. And I know, like, I personally, I'm going to be running Ruby Amethyst for set champs. I don't know exactly what variant yet. I've been testing a locations version, a more aggro-y Prince Eric Teeth and Ambitions version, and I've just been testing the, okay, can I get to turn 7 as quickly as possible and prep and then just not let them be able to do anything. That probably
Yeah,
isn't going to be the case, though, just because this meta, things are so fast. Really, Ruby Amethyst now has to try to go under dime.
yeah.
If you're playing Sapphire Steel, Amber Steel, if you let them get out to a early start, you're kind of toast. I realized Emerald Steel, I can't talk about that deck. It just bugs me. Uh, Sean's not here to defend it.
The discard,
Discard, yeah.
yeah.
Ooh,
It kind of hard to play around discard when they just discard
yeah.
what
It's
you're.
surprisingly, I'm the most comfortable in the mirror, which I feel like is a good thing going into set champs.
Yeah, being
Uh,
comfortable in the mirror is also very good.
mhm.
Because a lot of people, I know for me starting out is like, oh, I played against all these other meta decks and I'm playing this meta deck. Oh wait, what if I
I-
come across my deck?
yeah, and obviously, like when you're thinking of a mirror match, most likely you're not going to have an identical 60 cards. They may be playing
Yeah,
one more Maui than you, or they may not be running Maui's fish hooks when you are. They may be running more locations.
yeah,
And that kind of just goes like to what I said about the two decks I'm testing. I'm testing a location based deck, but
yeah.
also testing a more low to the ground deck. Those gonna clash, so you just got to be able to remember that testing against the mirror is also important. And I know we're kind of going back to the basics, but sometimes you really got to go back to the basics when
Uh,
preparing for an
it's a
event.
good time to get back to basics
Yeah.
and really drill them into your head
Hmm.
so that you're ready. Because I know more people are going to be treating this as more competitive
Oh yeah,
level events.
100%.
They're going to bring their A game to all of these
Yeah.
because, especially with the pricing on the line for the set championships, uh, there's only a limited number of those. So,
Yeah, don't be surprised if those stitches are over $1,000.
oh,
Uh,
yeah.
they're gonna be rather
I'm
expensive.
keeping mine.
If I get one, I'll keep it. If I get two,
You let me have it if I don't get it.
you're a Canadian. Actually, you're still American. Never mind. I was about to say.
You're not too far from me. I can
I know.
come. I can come get
I'm gonna walk out of my dorm and Blake's just
it.
gonna be standing there. Give me the stitch.
Ding dong.
Uh,
Hello, have you my stitch mat, please?
Campus police, help. Anyways, well,
Nah.
probably actually at that point, by the time set champs are done, I leave to go home after a week, which should be fun.
Oh no.
Uh, but when I go home, that kind of starts my summer, but also starts DLCs,
Yep.
and it's not downloadable content. It is Disney Lorcana Challenges. I'm still trying to differentiate the two. Uh,
Yeah,
Disney
I still
Lorcana
get thrown off.
Challenges. We got a lot pertaining to these in the past few weeks. I know last episode we talked about like we got the first locations. I believe we talked about all that stuff,
Yep.
but we had updates. So what happened was everyone saw what happened with Atlanta. Went out uh, of sale in
Immediately.
2 minutes, and so Disney Lorcana after that week happened. What they did is they came out, they made an announcement. They said we're looking to up more stuff, looking to make this better and bigger, and they did exactly that. First thing they did was Chicago Challenge release tickets were supposed to go out a week later. They did not do that. They pushed them back to a different day just because obviously that was going to be a lot. And they upped Atlanta to 2,048 available spots. And as like over the course of this past week, they sent out emails to people who are on the wait list to see if they can get in. They did the same for Lille over in France, and they have bumped these up tremendously to kind of just like open it up to as many people that want to compete. And Blake,
Yeah.
I know neither of us are going to Atlanta, but this is still really good for the game, and hopefully gives a lot more
Yeah.
people opportunities to go to other tournaments.
Yeah, and we still haven't heard exactly any updates for the later ones,
Mm-hmm.
so we're still waiting on information on that. But I'm hoping somewhere along the same upscaling to, especially for me in Toronto, with it
Yeah.
being the one event in Canada as of yet. Um, so pretty much everyone that's in Canada is going to try to make that one, and anyone that's close enough to the border stateside that can just
Mm-hmm.
hop over are going to maybe
Chicago.
try. Yeah,
Chicago. Gotta come to
yeah,
Chicago.
we're
It
going to
is
try Chicago. Yeah.
it is really fun. I know for like the both of us, Toronto is your hometown tournament. I believe it's your birthday weekend or very close to it.
It's the day after my birthday.
And it's the same like for Chicago, that's my hometown, and it's the day after my birthday as well. Or at
Wow,
least
they really better let us go. Ravensburger, please.
wink wink, wink wink wink.
Wink, wink. It's our
Uh
birthday.
that should be fun. I know Chicago is shaping up to be a pretty big one, just
Mm.
give its location. But we have six, but we're gonna get more. Is what Disney
Yeah.
Lorcana announced. They said that their plan has been to ramp up the DLC over time, but due to the demand, they are accelerating some of their plans. This is coming right from the website. Some of their plans and adding a few additional events that will take place prior to the Continental Championships, is what they're calling it. So we're going to see more. We have six, and they're pretty well spread out over the course of May through October, but we're going to get more. And Blake, any thoughts on where those could be? I know Indy was popped up, but I know like something like Pittsburgh or New York was being asked for because there's really nothing out there.
Yeah, at this point, I really don't know. They kind of hit the main areas,
Mm-hmm.
but uh, we'll just have to see. I'm hoping for another Canada location,
Yeah.
maybe further along the west coast, so that mm, more people can attend in that
Yeah.
area and not have to fly all the way to Toronto for a Canada event, because it's still quite a distance.
Yeah. And
Canada
then,
is huge, and just having
yeah,
one for the entire country is oof.
difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, we have one in Seattle, but that is still in the U.S., which is much harder to get to if you're not in like Vancouver
Hmm.
and close and have the ability to get across the border. But yeah, be excited. We're going to see a lot more set champs coming, which is really good. Uh, Something they also announced with DLC is that these sizes are going to increase, some larger than others. So, like, just for example, Chicago is a pretty big city. They could bump it up even higher than 2048. I think it'll depend on what Atlanta returns are and how many people are signed up for that, because all of the waves went out to get in. I
Yeah.
believe this past week there were three different waves for tickets. So, but the big thing to come out of this is, I'll read this word for word. When the player count in a tournament is at 10,000 or 25 or higher, Continental Championship qualifications and promo card pricing will scale. So that means more people are going to qualify for Continentals, and more people are going to get pricing, which is really cool to see. And they also said they're going to go into more detail when they share the final prize list. So we got those cards. We saw those cards that they showed off in the Lorecast a few weeks ago. But I guarantee we're going to see like probably I would say booster boxes and other stuff associated with that pricing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I believe they're going to increase the number of those cards too.
Yeah, that.
The
Mhm.
participation and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, I am still really excited to see that Mickey, that serialized Mickey, is going to look
Yeah,
so
I do
good.
want to see the
Yeah,
actual card.
the actual
Yeah.
card, not just like
Yeah.
pixelated gold
Yeah. Yeah.
rectangular image. But yeah, that is kind of all the updates we got from DLC. Obviously, like I said, Atlanta and Lille, their numbers bumped, and by the time of recording, everything for getting into that tournament has been figured out. Also, for anyone listening going to Atlanta that hasn't seen it, they are moving the convention to the Georgia World Congress Center, which is right across the street. So just a different building, not too far if you've booked a hotel or something. I believe MomoCon is in that same building though.
Yeah.
Uh, so, but Disney Lorcana has said that they're going to have signage and all that stuff to direct everyone in the right direction.
I would hope so.
So that is DLCs. Obviously, when preparing for a competitive event, always take into consideration everything. Atlanta is the first one, and that is going to be with set 3. But the first one with set 4 is Chicago. So always consider what is coming up. If you are going to Atlanta, obviously keep testing set 3. But if you're going to Chicago, start thinking about set 4 once set champs end. See what you can build up, and maybe you can find a meta there. But obviously, where it's still it'll be a few weeks after. I believe it's 3 weeks after store releases, and 1 week after big box release is when cards come legal. So
Yeah.
You'll have time to test. We'll have the full set list for about a month-ish, I'd say, before we actually play in Chicago. But Blake, any other thoughts or things you have to say about set champs or DLCs when preparing for these?
Nothing other than mapping out your travel and making sure you get some food at some point during these events.
And shower, please, for the love of God, people shower, please, during these events. It's not more set champs because those are daily things, but like at like these events, shower.
Not for the multiple days events. Yes, once day 1 is over, go to your hotel room and
turn on
some
water.
Upkeep.
Yeah.
Ready, set,
Upkeep. All right, but like you said, food, that is a huge thing. Obviously, these tournaments are 9 rounds long, and it's gonna take the entire day. You're gonna start early, and you're probably gonna end late. And with 2 game Swiss, there's always an opportunity to come back. So you keep playing the entire day. And so bring snacks, fiber bars, or not Nutrigrain, like fiber bars, just like granola bars, stuff like that you can easily fit in your bag. Just like different fruit slices. I know my favorite thing is like dried up mangoes. I munch on those all day during a tournament.
I love mangoes. Yeah.
And then I'll always stay hydrated. You're going to be talking a lot during the day. You don't want to go play Saturday. There you go. Hey, don't get doxxed by Brandon. I see that sticker.
Oh.
Bear. Yeah, just make sure you're drinking water. Make sure you're taking care of yourself, because in the end, that is the most important thing during these events. As much as you're there to have fun and be with friends, always got to make sure you are taking care of yourself. But that is set champs and DLCs. Lots of competitive stuff to come up on. Yep. We are really excited to be able to cover that stuff and talk about it. But we wouldn't be able to talk about that if we didn't know how to play. And obviously we know how to play, but we know how to like officially play now. We got the comprehensive rules over the past few weeks, and obviously this is kind of, we knew there was a lot of stuff in here that was kind of like, okay, we knew this.
Yeah.
But this is now like giving step-by-step stuff in how to do things. And yes, we know there have been arguments. There have been disagreements everywhere these past couple of days, but we're not going to touch on that. We are a few days removed from all that, so but we're just going to talk about things that interested us. And I think the biggest thing that come out of this was the bag, which is essentially, I'll read it, 8.7. This is 8.7 in the official rule book, but 8.71 says, whenever a triggered ability's condition is met, the ability is added to the bag. Only abilities can exist in the bag. Unlike other zones, the bag isn't a physical zone, but only where triggered abilities created by the game wait to resolve. So, say you play Let the Storm Rage On. That card's ability is added to the bag because there's an ability on it. It says yada, 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 whatever. I don't know why I'm blanking on what that card says. Deal 2 damage, draw card. There you go. And so, obviously... and it says activated abilities, resolving actions, playing characters, locations, or items aren't added to the bag. So it's kind of just like...
So you just gave a really bad example.
I actually did, yeah. Activated... I don't know what I'm... Yeah.
a better example would be when you use let the sword rage on Prince Eric, for
There you go.
example.
Yeah.
Eric's ability is what is put into the bag.
Okay. That makes more
Uh,
sense.
yeah.
This is why we have Blake, guys. This is why we have Blake. I
um, yeah, and basically the bag is when so say let's say I want to say your opponent, uh, the person that played the Storm Mage on, played it on Prince Eric, and they have. Let me see. I'm thinking of the card.
Cusco, baby, the two cost Cusco. Is that one of them?
No, I'm thinking. Where are you? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so say they had the Prince Eric, and then uh, they also have Lyle Tiberius Fork.
Mm.
He has ability that triggers whenever one of your other characters is banished. So
They lose a
that
lore.
goes into the
Yeah.
bag. And then at that point, you go into the bag and pull your stuff out of it and um, resolve that
Mm-hmm.
in whatever order you want. And there
Yeah.
are these abilities that I'm mentioning don't really, the order wouldn't really matter
No.
typically, but there are situations
Yeah.
where your order would matter in order to like uh, get the best value out of the abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so being familiar with the bag concept and how to navigate activating the abilities and pulling them from the bag can be really important, and especially in high level play
Yeah.
when all this crazy stuff may happen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have yet to see anything truly insane, but
We're
I
three
know
sets
like
in. We're three sets in.
I know like Googly Glimmers has these amazing puzzles that he's
Yeah.
put out, and that those are great exercises in utilizing the bag and everything, and just
And those are like obviously scenarios you would rarely see in a game.
yeah, that's the thing. It's like they're rarely. There's nothing too crazy right now. I think that you'll really see, but that those are such a great exercise in practicing and utilizing the bag,
Mm-hmm.
so that when we do get crazy board states that can happen in the future, probably uh, we can navigate that pretty easily.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's gonna be something to like think about and read over. Obviously, I did read over it, just didn't make sense in my head. So read over it, talk to your friends, try to figure it all out, because understanding all of that, especially if you go into a tournament and someone understands it better than you don't want to be sitting there asking questions of why'd you do this, why'd you do that, which it's okay, but always try to just be thinking about how to uh, get the most out of your cards,
Yep.
and understanding the bag is going to help a lot there. uh, but other than that, the conference rules, they're 31 pages long, so a lot of good stuff here. Uh, Honestly, like a lot of stuff that we kind of knew already, I feel like, and kind of just
Yeah,
explained it.
yeah, it's some minor clarifications of
Yeah,
certain things, but most of it is what we all knew.
yeah.
Uh, Other than that, there's going to probably be like tournament specific rules, especially for the DLCs
Mm-hmm.
for resolving issues and what judges are going to be
Told to do,
what
yeah.
they're told to do, what to enforce, and how to enforce it. Um, so yeah, I believe we haven't seen anything on that quite
No,
yet.
not yet.
Nothing in detail. I just know there's like a small like warnings and
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
on
I
certain
believe.
things, but it all depends on. what it is, and we
Yeah.
have yet to see what it uh, will call for a warning or removal
Yeah.
or
Obviously,
disqualification.
yeah, obviously, we did get it like in the like quick start rules that, or we got it in some rule book before. Is like in casual play, it's like just kind of like, okay, don't do that. But in competitive play, it's a warning. And I know from like Pokemon, if you get 2 warnings, then it's a game loss. And if there's like a stretch of stuff that keeps happening, then obviously you disqualified from the tournament.
Yeah,
So
probably
always,
something along that vein. Yeah.
yeah. Always just probably going in any tournament, kind of read over the rules. It's a long book, but uh, always good to read over it. And obviously, this kind of is just kind of like when we had the quick start rules. Is kind of this. We kind of knew what happened, but now it's kind of just like this
Yep.
big, really big. Kind of just like the full description, the full definition is the word I'm looking
Yep.
for.
Yeah.
And that's always good to remember. Uh, so yeah, those are available on their website. If you go to resources and then comprehensive rules, they're right there. But we do have one more thing to talk about today, and that is kind of just like looking at. We're going to circle back to set champs and kind of just looking at uh, what's being played right now and what we're looking to play. I think we also touched on it, but we can go in a little bit more depth. Obviously, Ruby Amethyst, number one, going to be played.
Yep.
It's I said
It's
it.
been the Lorcana staple.
Jay, I know you might be watching. You know you did this to all of us. Jay's our friend, and he has quote unquote created the madness that Ruby Amethyst is in
Yep.
this game. But Sapphire Steel is the second one. Dime into that deck. You want to play more aggro. You want to try to get under the dime.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, if they have a Tamatoa or a Gaston,
That or get rid of their Fishbowl Quill.
Yes.
In which case, if you're playing against me, please don't get rid of my Fishbone Quill.
So yeah, always think about item removal. I think is going to be really big in these.
Yeah.
If you are playing steel, obviously Benja is going to make a return.
Yeah, especially for the mirror matches.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Like for me, Ruby Amethyst, I don't have any way to deal with items, so I just have to bum rush them and hopefully that I'm able to get to 20 before they get their stuff out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is Ruby Amethyst, Sapphire Steel, Amber Steel, Steel Song. It's always going to be a good deck. It has gotten better, I think, this set because it did struggle against Ruby Amethyst, but obviously with how much Ruby Amethyst took out, it's a lot slower. So if you're having struggles against Amber Steel with Ruby Amethyst, consider the locations. Consider a lot of war 1/3s, I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just Emerald Amethyst.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it top a few events. The tempo, and I know there's a recent more hyper aggro one list that came out. I don't know if it's won any big tournaments yet, but I know there's a list that was posted a while ago and being spread around.
Yeah, I know that obviously hype aggro, you always have to be worried about grab your swords. Always have to be worried about
steel in general for that deck is that's your toughest matchup. As demonstrated between myself and Liam.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. Something else I think people should watch out for is Ruby Amber, Mufasa, and all those shenanigans. I've seen somewhere that like Mufasa is going to be good, and where some people aren't playing it just because it's like too unreliable. But always consider the lion. Always consider the lion.
One of my locals, someone runs that deck, and it's still pretty good. The last one that I did, it was the final round, and that was the deck I faced, and lost that one, unfortunately.
That deck can be tricky just because they have access to be prepared. So if they need to clear your board,
Ruby is still holding on to those very powerful cards with Maui and Be Prepared and Tremaine, and now Madame
Medusa.
Medusa. Yeah.
That's like
Uh,
open the scroll, rolling away from me.
yeah, here's Ruby's list of mega cards, and here's Amethyst's list of value cards.
Mash. And
Yeah,
we also see like we see the Mulan that we saw in the Lorecast coming in set 4. That's Ruby, and if
yep.
you shift it 5 damage to 3 different things, like what?
Ouch. Yeah,
That
yeah, yeah. Preparing for Chicago is
I will be
gonna be
prepared for.
fun.
I will be prepared for Chicago. I will
Yeah.
be prepared for Chicago. Uh, and also, obviously, it's going to be a full different format from Atlanta to Chicago. So when we see the Atlanta results, I think we can consider them, but we also can't consider them for Chicago at the same time, just because there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a whole new set of cards, whole new 204 cards
Yeah.
to work with. But Blake, I know you said Emerald, Amethyst. If you had to give strength and weaknesses to the deck, what would you say about that? Because I know you've been playing that a lot lately.
Uh, yeah, it's definitely one of the ones that wants to go first for sure. Going second is pretty tough. And but having the legendary Ursula double singing your songs like Mother Knows Best and Friends on the Other Side, especially getting to draw a bunch of cards
Yeah,
and basically fighting to keep the tempo and the board state. And main weakness is steel uh, removal. A lot of your stuff is pretty squishy, and with the tempo version of the deck, you don't race as fast as like the hyper aggro
yeah,
stuff. Like you still want to race as much as you can with your Cursed Merfolk if you get that out early.
mm-hmm.
But it it can be tough. It's and it definitely takes a lot of patience to use your characters to their maximum
Yeah.
effect and utilization. Like an example from my match with Liam was I had a Rafiki that sat there for several turns,
Yeah.
and then I finally got to play like a crab, and I got to take out a huge. Well, not huge. It was. It's
I think it
still
was a
a four
Jafar.
cost. Yeah,
It was a
Jafar Dreadnought,
yeah.
the four cost. Uh, but essentially, yeah, using it to trade a one cost for a four cost, which is absolute
Yeah.
value.
Yeah. And obviously that deck is still gonna be good. You're gonna see it at these set champs. For Ruby Amethyst, there are so many different takes on this deck.
It's
I feel
so
like right
many
now.
variants, so it all depends on which one you end up
Hmm.
facing.
Yeah. But I know, like for me playing Ruby Amethyst, the location deck, it was kind of made in thoughts of getting under a lot of things more.
Mhm.
But it also is a very slow start, and you can't really deal well with Amber Steel unless, like, maybe if you're playing Teeth and a lot more 1/3s.
Yeah.
But then I turned to obviously uh, okay, like playing the minis or the Olafs. I think the only cards in the deck that have 2 willpower or less are Rafiki's, Cusco's, and then the 3 Jotmuffs. Everything else, uh, snakes, foxes, goats, rabbits. Pinocchio is a 1/1. Uh, Pinocchio, good card, really good card in this format.
We're talking the one that
Play it down.
exerts a
Yeah,
character. Yeah.
yeah. You if you can get that down and you have like even an emerald, just anything with emerald amethyst, anything with amethyst. If you're able to play that down and then bounce it back with fox and just open something up
Yep.
early game, that helps a lot. I know. So obviously Ruby Amethyst very flexible. Gonna be a lot of variants. Sapphire Steel, they're just trying to race the dime.
Uh, yeah, and I will say of the decks is probably one of the hardest to pilot and make the right moves at the right time. It you got to make your place right with that deck, otherwise you are losing. And but when it wins big.
Yeah, that is the thing. Like if you're sitting at like 13, 14 lore and you're able to get like whether it's a Gaston or a Tamatoa, something that, or even Bell. I've seen Bell
Yeah,
being slotted in.
yeah. Bell's Strange but Special is pretty great, especially to end the game, because you
Mm-hmm.
can
And
play
it very,
Bell and Dime in the same turn if you're at the right amount of ink, and
yeah, that's,
get that 5 lore immediately.
yeah. Obviously that would take, I think, 13 lore because 7, 2 from the Dime, and then 4. But those decks have no issue getting there.
Yeah, it can go from nothing to I'm winning
Yeah, and that's,
really quick if the
you're
cards
not
are played
careful.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously, watch out for that deck. And like we said, Amber Steel. We've touched on that a few times. If you can stop their early game, that helps a lot. If you can get rid of their shift targets, you can get rid of their
Items.
singers. Yeah, items as well. Yeah, lane turns. Yeah, that's really good. But and then obviously some people are going to come with some jank, some off meta stuff that you're not expecting.
Yeah.
And that's where I think knowing the cards is a really good and like what's in every
Yeah,
ink.
if you're gonna bring something outside, it better be something that's studied into all these other decks that you feel like can do well against
Yeah.
them.
hmm
It-
Which
it-
I love seeing those decks pop up. I think we saw like a Ruby Emerald deck pop up from
yeah,
a tournament over in Europe a few weeks ago, which was really cool. Yeah, lots to be considered when talking about decks and Chet champs. I think like you and I are really excited to see what happens there, and then
yep.
lots to come. I'm playing in 4 right now, possibly 5, maybe 6 if I really wanted to push it, but I probably won't. I know you said you're playing in 4, Nat's playing in 2. I know Sean is going to be playing in a few, so get excited. Competitive
Yep.
Lorcana, it's here. I mean, it has
Yeah.
been here, but real like prizing from
We're a week
Ravensburger.
away
Yes.
from it actually for everyone to start playing. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, we did want to say thank you to everyone for watching our first, not live. We did live podcast a while ago following,
Yeah.
but our first recorded with our face. Hopefully you like seeing our faces. Makes it a lot more fun this way, I think. And we are super excited for comp play coming up, set champs DLCs. We're super excited to cover it all. If you guys want to follow us, links will be in the description, and we will see you guys in the next one. Glimmer on.